What is up, guys? My name is Josh. Welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about the 2.9 Expo cycle deck that is incredibly popular on the ladder and is incredibly viable in grand challenges, which first of all I just want to say is very rare that you see a deck that works on not only the ladder but in grand challenges too. Most of the time you only see decks that work in just grand challenges or just the ladder. So to see this deck work on both is quite strange, really. And I think it comes down to the fact that most of the cards are super balanced. You know, there's not a card in the deck that isn't good or underbalanced, and there's not a card in the deck that's OP. You know, every card has been balanced since pretty much day one. Well, not day one, but for a long time, for over a year and a half, this deck's been out there and people have known about it and people have used it on the ladder and they've used it in grand challenges. But when I think it really became a super popular deck would be when the Tesla got a buff, because the Tesla was useless before its buff, but after the buff it's the best defensive card in the game, hands down. For 4 elixir you get a defensive building that can't be seen unless it's in direct contact with a troop, unless it's kind of firing at a troop, you know. It can't be seen, it can't be damaged, you can't poison it if it's underground or hidden, you can't fireball it, you can't rock it if it's hidden. The only way you can damage it is when it's actually, you know, attacking a troop, and it can be seen by other troops, which is crazy because that's the only defensive building in the game that's like that. But anyway, so this deck has the Fireball, the 1 elixir skeletons, the Log, the Expo, the Ice Golem, the 1 elixir Ice Spirit, the Archers, and the Hidden Tesla, and it comes out at an average elixir cost of 2.9, which is super quick for an Expo deck, right? And it has a Tesla in it. And basically what you want to be doing with this deck is, you know, a lot of people say just get as many Expos down as you can. I don't personally agree with that. I think as long as you get one good Expo down and you can get the tower down to, you know, within 4 or 5 fireballs, you can pretty much defend for the rest of the game. And this deck is insanely defensive and it cycles so quickly that you really will have no problem on defense. So you really want to play smart and tactical with this deck. This is a great deck if you're struggling to try and reach the next level in Clash Royale, or to try and reach the next tier of skill. This deck will help you get there, in my opinion, because cycle decks always help with skill because they teach you how to manage your elixir and they teach you how to be conservative and how to defend and how to attack when the moment's right. So it's a great deck for that, and also it's a fun deck to play. And like I said, it works both on the ladder and in grand challenges, so why wouldn't you want to try it out? And yeah, like I say, what you want to be doing with the deck is, of course, getting that one good Expo lock. But I want to say that it's important to set up with your Tesla. A lot of people use the deck and they don't use the Tesla how it should be used. You know, it can be used for Hog Riders and it can be used for Giants and it can be used for all of that, of course. But you never want to put just an Expo down. You always want to put an Expo and a Tesla down, because if they put a P.E.K.K.A at the bridge and they destroy your Expo, okay, yeah, you can defend with the Tesla after that. But if you set up with the Tesla first and then put the Expo down and then they put a P.E.K.K.A down, you can distract the P.E.K.K.A with the Ice Spirit. That's 1 second. Then you can distract it with the 1 elixir skeletons. That's another 4 seconds. You know, and that's 5 seconds of the Tesla shooting at the P.E.K.K.A. You know, and then you've got the Ice Golem, and then you've got the Log. You know, so many cards to push these, you know, these troops that can get distracted. The Giant Skeleton, the P.E.K.K.A, not so much the Giant and the Golem, but same thing, right? You know, you can delay that kind of tank placed at the bridge coming at your Expo, and if you place the Tesla right, you can actually get them to come to your Tesla instead. And then obviously use the Archers as well to support all of your buildings. Now, of course, that's, you know, I've just 6 elixir, 4 elixir, 3 elixir, that's 13 elixir. So obviously you might only be able to do that in double elixir. But what I'm trying to say basically is never just put a lone Expo down. You know, you want to put an Expo and a Tesla down. That's your main goal as a siege player. You want the Expo and the Tesla to help the Expo defend against anything that the opponent will place. You know, the hardest matchup is definitely, people say it's Golem, but it's not, because, you know, Golem costs 8 elixir, so it's not as easy to get down as something like a Giant. The Giant is the hardest matchup for Expo because it costs 1 elixir less, but it's got near enough the same hit points as a Golem, so, you know, they can constantly put their Giant down, and then once they know that you have Expo, they're always going to save their Giant, so it can be a tough matchup, but it's definitely winnable. You know, as long as you play the matchup smart. You know, I would say in a Giant matchup, play super defensively. You know, if it means setting up an Expo on defense every single time, waiting for that one offensive Expo when you know that they don't have their Giant, because you can outcycle a Giant deck, but it's just they will always save their Giant for your Expo, so you have to be super smart about it. But it's definitely winnable, and I have so many matches won against a Giant player where they BM me in the start because they think it's an easy win, or as soon as they've seen my Expo, they think it's an easy win, and they'll save their Giant every time. But you can outcycle it. You can end up getting a defensive Expo, an offensive Expo, and then a defensive Tesla, and then you have all three of those things shooting at a Giant, and that Giant soon gets melted, you know. So it's definitely not losable. So if you see a Giant, don't panic. You know, I would say play defensively, and know that it's winnable. Don't think to yourself, oh, I can't win because he's playing Giant, or I can't win because he's playing P.E.K.K.A, or I can't win because he's playing Golem, or Giant Skeleton, or whatever the card may be. Every single matchup is winnable with this deck, which makes this. That's why it's such a good deck, because there isn't a matchup where you cannot win. You know, its hardest matchup is Giant, but it's still winnable, you know. And people, like I say, people think Golem is the hardest matchup. It's definitely not. It's actually not too hard to win against the Golem, because, again, just play defensively, put the Expo on defense, put the Tesla on defense, use the archers to kill the support troops, and then go back on the offense with the Expo, and it's actually quite winnable. You'd be surprised how winnable a Golem matchup is with an Expo. But yeah, if you just want to use this deck purely for the ladder, I would say, of course, you have to consider levels. They're always going to be important. I only have a level 6 Expo at the moment, and I'm still 15 away from level 7, even though I'm level 13. So I don't personally use it on the ladder because it's just not viable for me. I need at least a level 7, preferably a max, but that will never happen because I don't really spend that much money on the game apart from special offers. So yeah, if you want to use it on the ladder, I would say levels are super important. Don't go into the ladder unless you have a level 7 Expo. Obviously, depending on your trophy range. If you're above 4,000, I'm speaking explicitly to you. If you're below 4,000, level 6 Expo should be fine. Might struggle with a level 5 Expo. See how it goes. Play a couple games. See what you come up against. But I feel like if you're below 4,000, you're going to be coming up against max elite barbs and stuff like that. So it's going to be tough for you. So perhaps make sure you've got at least a level 6, if not a level 7 Expo. Ice Golem doesn't really matter what level you have him, you know, as long as it's above tournament standard, it shouldn't really matter. All he's kind of there for is to be used to soak up damage and kite things anyway, so it's not really too critical what level you have him. Ice Spirit, 1 elixir skeletons, level 11, level 12. Of course, this all depends on what trophy you're at, trophy range you're at. Tesla level 12 is pretty important because that's going to be your main defensive building to deal with stuff. If you don't have the log, you can sub in the zap or arrows, depending on what you want to use. Again, Fireball, level 10, level 9, I would say. But yeah, that's only if you want to use the deck on the ladder. But like I said, it does work. It works just as well on the ladder as it does in Grand Challenges. But I think if you're using it on the ladder, you have to be aware of what levels the deck has, just as you would any other deck. But in Grand Challenges, basically your main, to sum up the whole video, your main goal would be to always get that Expo down. Don't play too aggressive, because if you put 10 elixir down on the map and they can stop it with 5 or 6, and then they come back at you and they've got a 4 elixir lead, it can be a real struggle. And once they get a tower down, as an Expo player, it's pretty much game over, because they can always, once they've got that tower down and you put the Expo in that lane, they can always plop stuff straight on top of the Expo. So, you want to be super defensive, I would say, with this deck, and just make sure not to lose a tower. Always play defense, and then wait for your opportunity and strike when the moment's right. But yeah, that's the deck. I didn't make the deck. I'm not original with this deck. You know, it's out there. So many people know about the deck. Let me know if you guys think you could improve the deck. I know there's a 3.1 version with a Mega Minion. Perhaps that might be more suited for you if you like to play a bit slower. You know, 3.1's a little bit more elixir, and the Mega Minion offers a little bit more air defense. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the deck. If you think you can improve it, if you think it's already good enough, leave the video a thumbs up as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.